We all engage in comparing ourselves to others, and sometimes we don't even notice or realize that we are doing this. The concept of social comparison has become more relevant today because we're in the digital era and social media platforms such as Instagram or Facebook displaying trending statuses have become an integral part of our daily lives. In today's episode, we are going to dive into the world of social comparison, figure out why we do it, and see if there are any benefits from it, and most importantly, discuss the strategies for dealing with this negative impact on our psychological health and well-being. Hi there, my name is Ayo and I am a coach and the founder of the Talking Hub, and we are discussing about the impact of social comparison on our psychological health and well-being. We can describe social comparison as the process of evaluating ourselves in relation to others. It is a natural human behavior where we assess our own abilities, achievements, and attributes by comparing them with the standards of other people around us. This can happen consciously or subconsciously, and it can influence how we see ourselves and our place in the world. One of the key psychological theories linked to this is the social comparison theory, which suggests that we all engage in comparing ourselves to others because there is an internal drive for self-evaluation in order to determine our own abilities, attitudes, and beliefs. Comparing ourselves to others makes us have an idea of where we are and possibly where we stand, with reference to success, wealth, attractiveness, and intelligence. In a nutshell, we figure out how good we are and form opinions about ourselves by comparing ourselves with other people. An example can be you just happen to scroll through your social media feed and you realize one of your friends has posted a recent promotion at work or an engagement to someone. Going through their timelines can make you reflect on your own relationship status or progress in your chosen career. This unconscious act can be classed as social comparison because you are directly comparing yourself to someone else who you perceive to be most likely better off or more successful in certain areas of life. At times, these comparisons can help in motivating us to become successful or reflect on our own relationships. However, it could also lead to feelings of inadequacy or jealousy if we perceive our own careers or relationships are lagging behind. Now, it's important to mention that social comparison isn't all bad within some context, because it can serve as a source of motivation and encouragement, driving us to improve ourselves and achieve our goals. Seeing someone else's success can also provide us with some inspiration. And finally, seeing people go through similar experiences, challenges, or milestones tends to give us a sense of reassurance, validation, and belonging. For example, going through an early phase of parenting and listening to some of the stories and experiences of other new parents from school and local parenting groups, their highs, lows, joys, and worries of being a parent made me realize that these challenges are not unique to me alone, but they are also common experiences with other parents. A quick thing to note here is that it's important to recognize when social comparison is serving us positively, and also when it's leading us down a path of self-doubt and inadequacy. I guess the big question here is, what are the signs, or how do we recognize that we are getting caught up in the comparison trap? Well, we could start having feelings of jealousy when we see others doing well in their lives. We might begin to feel unhappy about our own lives after viewing what others have posted on social media. There could be thoughts that we don't feel good enough about ourselves and others are better than us. We start developing a habit of spending money and getting into debt just to keep up with unrealistic standards. And finally, instead of feeling happy, we feel resentful when good things happen to people we know. So how does engaging in the comparison trap negatively affect our well-being? The relationship between social comparison and well-being is a bit complex. While social comparison can motivate self-improvement and provide a frame of reference, it can also lead to negative impacts on our well-being. And this impact varies greatly depending on individual and contextual factors. These negative impacts of comparing ourselves to others can result in having a low self-esteem and a negative perception of ourselves because we don't think we are good enough and we feel inadequate in so many areas of our lives. We could also experience an increase in stress and anxiety because there's a self-imposed pressure to meet the standards of others. An example could be seeing friends on social media sharing pictures of romantic gestures and celebrations. This can lead us to questioning the quality of our own relationships because ours doesn't match what is seen online. This pressure becomes self-imposed and we could begin to seek more public displays of affections and gestures in order to compete or display the status of our own relationships. Eventually, this can cause tension in our own relationships because we are moving away from authenticity and trying to live up to external expectations. Comparing ourselves to others can also lead to us having some issues with our body image, and we begin to start criticizing how we look based on far-fetched beauty standards and idealized images. And this could also lead to body dissatisfaction and potentially severe eating disorders. And finally, excessively comparing ourselves to others can also make us feel sad and lonely because it just feels that we can't keep up with the others and their standards. It also detracts us from appreciating our own achievements and experiences, leading to decreased satisfaction in life. There are so many other negative impacts on our psychological well-being, but we will stick to these ones for now. I guess the follow-up question is, how do we reduce the negative impact of social comparison in our lives? We could limit our use of social media within reason by cutting down the time spent on Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter. This might make us feel less pressured to conforming to the standards of others. We could also identify as well as pay attention to what easily prompts us to start making comparisons with others. Could it be certain people, certain places, discussions, or scrolling through social media again? In my view, we can start managing those situations once we've identified what easily makes us start comparing ourselves to others. We can also practice gratitude where we take some time to appreciate what we have in our own lives. Practicing gratitude also makes us focus on the positive aspects of our lives and makes us appreciate how far we've come and grown. Another way to reduce the negative impact of social comparison is by playing to our strengths. We should play to our strengths and focus on what we're good at instead of worrying about how we measure up against others. It is also important to celebrate our wins, no matter how small they are, and most of all, accept and embrace who we are. We should also seek professional help once we realize that the social comparison is causing a significant distress and impacting our mental health. And finally, we should invest in true relationships. Engaging and investing in real and sometimes face-to-face relationships is essential because our true friends can provide us with the physical, mental, and emotional support that we desire or need. Surrounding ourselves with supportive friends and family members who encourage and validate us can potentially help in diminishing the urge of self-comparison. To summarize all we've talked about today, we can take steps to mitigate the impact of social comparison once we understand why we compare ourselves to others and also recognize the signs of negative comparison. It is also important to remember that our journey is unique and our value is not determined by how we measure up against others. We must also embrace our path, celebrate our individuality, and let go of comparisons that don't serve us. In doing so, we will find greater joy and satisfaction in our own lives. Thank you so much for watching. Please subscribe to the Talking Hub, and you can listen to or download this episode on Spotify, Google, or Apple Podcasts. Thank you.